And Paul Morgan is self-employed business consultant and former Hawaii Army National Guard member. And he joins us here in studio right now. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Leah. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate this.
I know this is probably an early morning wake-up call.
Well, when you're on the campaign trail, it seems like every day is just a long day.
Let's talk about that. You're one of 13 Republican candidates going for Hawaii's highest elected office in what is a blue state on paper. How are you feeling? How's this campaign trail going for you?
Well, I'm actually feeling inspired more and more every day as we go canvass the different neighborhoods and meet people where they are, their homes or shopping plazas, and just talking story with them. It's a lot of people concerned about the state, and they have their own issues that they're concerned about.
And I know one of the big things you are, at least looking at your website, you're very focused on is tackling corruption, bringing more transparency to the legislature, to the police department. What stuck out to you about corruption? What would you say is maybe the biggest instance of it that made you want to make this one of your biggest platforms?
Well, it's just hearing people talk about it in the communities and seeing the different stories on TV about bribery, extortion, and a whole lot of different things. You just ran a story about, the child, Keldon Walgen, being the vulnerable, being taken advantage of. So those things really I have a desire to help overcome, and my goodness, there's just so many different things listening to people that is just needed. So just being brave, being courageous, and just stepping up to step out, to do something about it. I felt like I have that power inside to be able to make change. So here we are.
So how would you go about trying to bring that change? I mean, I think we've all heard candidates before say they want to tackle the corruption, bring about more transparency, and depending on who you talk to, some people say that just hasn't happened. So how are you, if you were to be in this office, how would you plan to bring that about?
Well, we've already started. We did call it a SWOT analysis. That's that business consultant background. And what I lacked was name recognition, but putting together plans, building teams, I call it front loading the work. So as we meet people, we want to assemble our boards, our deputy and director heads, boards and commissions, those kind of people to front load this work to the point of we're all on the same page and we know what corruption we're going to end. So just taking the simple idea of exit interviews of the current administration staff to inquire about any inconsistencies from budgeting to expenditures, and also know about best practices as well. So any criminal things, of course, will be prosecuted, but we also want to know about the best practices.
Is there any specific instance that sticks out to you when we're taking a look at corruption in our state?
Well, for me, it's all of it. But what it comes down to is what the people want to see prosecuted, what they believe and think is corruption. So just some of the things that they've said is extortion, sexual assault, sexual harassment, intimidation, those kind of different things. So just hearing from them what they want to see prosecuted, and then considering the first two picks of this administration will be an attorney general and the person who's in charge of DCCA.
And I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit here, but you are one of the only candidates on both sides of the aisle that has mentioned you'd like to legalize marijuana. As typically that's a very Democrat push and seen across the country. Why would you like to bring that to our state? Why do you think it would be important?
Well, you have a few states who've already done it, and what we would do first is consider their best practices as well. What I've shared with a few people is, February, I'm in the office. We take our group of delegation on those Air National Guard planes to study best practices, bring it back to Hawaii, pilot project it for what's in the best interest. So we consider three values of anything that we're going to launch throughout our campaign. One, it doesn't cause an increase in the taxes of the state of Hawaii. Two, it works in the best interest of the citizens. And three, it doesn't cause people to think they're going to lose their jobs.
Now, last week, my former co-anchor on The Weekend, Tom George, he actually spoke with the Republican Party chair about what she'd like to see happen for the Republican Party here in Hawaii. As we mentioned, it's a pretty blue state on paper. She's pointed out the issue of even just getting Republican candidates on the ballot. So what made you want to, come forward as a Republican candidate, and is any words to other people who maybe aren't sure of being a representative for the Republican Party?
Yeah, I mean, if you have that desire to see the change in the state of Hawaii, that everybody wants the state to thrive, then step out and have courage and have confidence, because you're feeling and hearing those things for a reason. So do it. Be a part of the change that you want to see in the state of Hawaii. If you don't have a platform, if you don't know what you're doing, then hey, what we're doing, we're sharing our best practices from our campaign. So go to our website, reach out to us, and we're willing to share everything that we're doing, because the more of us that are on the same page, the sooner and better and faster this thing happens.
As we mentioned it, you're one of 13 candidates on the Republican side. I mean, I know that race is going to be heating up the closer we get to the primary. Yes. Does it, in a way, make you feel like good being a Republican candidate? There's 13 of you, in a sense that we don't have a lot of representation for that party.
Yeah, it inspires me again, and then the competitive spirit inside of me, you know, playing some college football, a little pro football, is okay, if you want to win, then you have to do what it takes to win. So we knew in the beginning, we did a SWOT analysis, that I lacked name recognition. So there's 76 districts, so we made it our top priority to get out to all the different districts, meet people where they're at, whether it's their homes or shopping malls, parking lots, or just walking in and out of stores. I wear a white t-shirt with Paul Morgan for governor on it. And as soon as I see somebody smile or say hello, then I'm all in, right? Like a dentist. So just, you know, it's just about meeting people where they are, knowing what their concerns are, what's in the best interest of all of us in Hawaii, so that we can actually thrive.
Well, thank you so much for waking up early and joining us here on Good Morning Hawaii, Paul.
Thanks for having me, Leah.